I met a gypsy.
So you've pretty much become motocross's spirit animal over these last few years. It seems like everybody seriously loves Ryan Hughes these days, and you've had such a massive impact on the sport post racing, and it's probably almost what you'll be remembered for. I think is like this legacy that you're creating. You're this guy that really you stand alone in a lot of your philosophies and the way that you live. You're a super eccentric dude, but in the best possible way. What's kind of I guess generated this over the last sort of few years?
Well, I guess, it's always been in me, because it's not like all of a sudden you just get a new DNA makeup. It's not like somebody who changes. Well, that's been in there and that's just been growing in them. It's just been covered up by something that's been suffocated. So there takes times, just like this thing, you're going down this journey of opening up a studio here, which will help you probably be able to interview a lot more people. So things happen in my life that opened me up to be able to find out this new side of me, or what was actually just growing inside, but wasn't able to kind of pop through the dirt, right, to be seen. And yeah, there's some weeds, there's some fucking weeds, but there's a lot of flowers. And so that's cool. And so I guess it's just a type of person I am, because again, like I've explained people, I never went to high school. I never stepped foot in high school. So I don't really have that conditioning, you know what I'm saying? Of being in a school system for so long. And school teaches you what to think. It doesn't teach you how to think. Okay. Now my schooling was going around the world racing and traveling the world and traveling everything and meeting people and being in certain situations that I had to kind of figure out myself at being a young age. And that teaches you how to think. Okay. So I'll take that intelligence over knowledge, because knowledge is just borrowed. So you're going to school, you're borrowing knowledge. You travel the world and you go on your own and you got to figure out these new things, new languages and monies and things like that. It starts to make you very intelligent because you're experiencing something. So that's one thing. My mind is very logical. There's no fluff to it. There's no bullshit to it. It's logical. If it's not true, then it's not right. The other thing, there doesn't have an ego behind it. I'm not trying to be better than anybody. Yeah, I'm fucking confident with what I say and what I stand behind, but I'm not trying to be better than anybody, or am I trying to manipulate anybody, or am I trying to lie to anybody? And then my mind doesn't have a dollar sign behind it. Yes, that is my weakness in my lifestyle, because I could probably be making a shitload more money, but it doesn't matter to me. I just love to share. I love to be able to teach people and be able to give these experiences that I have. Okay. So most people's mindsets are a little bit different than that. And so that's one way that some people maybe see that I'm very eccentric, but I don't really feel that I am. I eat probably the same foods everybody else does. I go to bed at the same times, and, I just have a little different lifestyle with how I live and take care of myself. And then I guess the final point is I want to be hated or I want to be loved. Because I love to fucking fight and I love to love people. But I don't want to just hang out. If that makes sense? You know what I'm saying? Because that brings the best out of me. Because if you've never hated anybody, then you don't know what love is. Because if you don't know what cold is, you don't know what hot is. You don't know what light is, you don't know what dark is. You get what I'm saying? So this whole politically correct bullshit about you can't be mad, you can't be sad, you can't be this, you can't be that, you can't. No, it's incorrect, because you're you're limiting yourself. And that's another thing, is I don't limit myself. I don't try to be this perfect person or walk this perfect line or follow some theology or some person or some way. I find my own way, and I make a lot of mistakes, but I always find myself back on my track, if that makes sense. And so that way of living allows you to be able to be so open. Because if I had so many taglines like I'm a this and I'm a that and I'm a that, well, all those I'm a stick me in a box, and I can't think past that box. I can't think past what that I'm a, that label of that conscious thinking is. So if I don't pigeonhole myself with I'm a this and I'm a that and I'm a this, well, then I have the complete freedom to think, be, feel any way I want, because I'm not being judged, looked upon, or not living up to a standard or whatever it is, if that makes sense. So in that whole perspective, there is kind of, you're getting a little bit of me, and that's why I feel that I stand out a little bit. But then also I don't give two shits what people think. I don't give two shits, man. I could care less. It's not my responsibility to care what you think, and it's not my responsibility to care about you also. You get what I'm saying? There's 8 billion people on this earth. It's my responsibility to care about 8 billion people? Fuck. No. All right? So if it offends you, if it hurts you, and if it's this, that, sorry, bud. Move on. Move on.
Yeah, there's a bunch there that we could go off, but there's one thing. I had a guy on the podcast he's now a really close friend of mine. His name's Taylor Cecil, and he hit me with a quote that I absolutely love that says, "Knowledge is for the ego, wisdom is for the soul." And I think that, you know, you kind of were getting at that a little bit in what you were saying.
Exactly, you know, because any book that you read, anybody that you listen to, anything that you hear is already borrowed knowledge. It's already written. It's already been thought about. It's already been put out there. So again, that is just borrowed. But if I go somewhere I've never been, if I have to experience something like divorce, so if I have to experience something like, you know, an injury or whatever it is, well, now I become so much more wise because I experienced something myself. I'm not borrowing in it from anybody else. You get what I'm saying? And that will never go away. Knowledge, you'll forget. Experience, you'll never forget. And especially if they're deep ones, you know. And I've had a lot of deep ones that they're ingrained in me, you know. So that's where you make your changes, man. That's where you make your changes.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.